bigger than that. So they said, well, what about this idea of having the whole world run, maybe not a marathon, but like a simple 10K. 10K is like I don't know, it's the shortest race you can run legitimately. 5K is kind of sad, but a 10K, like you don't have to be a hardcore runner, but if you want to, take up running, 10K is, it's not so bad. So they said, well, we want to do this thing, we want to make it worldwide, we want to make it global. So we said, all right, well, that's great. Well, let's do this half and half. You guys organize the physical races. So they organized 26 different cities around the world. Portland was a late entry because a lot of Nike employees were upset and they didn't want to go to Los Angeles, so they added Portland at the last minute. So 26 cities around the world, or you can run it wherever you are as long as you have Nike Plus. So the gateway to it is through the Nike Plus gateway. So we took over the homepage and we fed people through. So you have to be, you don't have to be part of Nike Plus, but you have to at least know what it is, and that's how you get there. So these aren't very dynamic. They're just sort of screenshots that I'm going to take you through. So there's no flash. Sorry. So 2 ways to run. You can run with us in one of these cities, or you can run where you are with Nike Plus. You create a little profile, you give your just do it, like why you're running, and then every time you come back, you get your own little dedicated page with all the little bells and whistles, things that you are important to you. And then, the human race really was intended to connect people around the world. Physically, you're all running together in a physical race, but also virtually, we want this to be a connection point for everybody to keep up with each other and keep tabs. So you can always find out who just joined, sort of like a mini, I'm not going to call it a mini Facebook thing, that would be giving it way too much credit, but you can see different faces of different people who've just joined. You can always see who's got the most miles, because runners are very competitive. We noticed this just through Nike Plus, that they love to challenge each other, they love to trash talk each other, my God. And they love to sort of like join teams and compete against each other. So we brought that whole notion to the human race. So training was a big aspect because you can't run a worldwide 10K and expect everybody to just suddenly be a runner. So we developed a couple things. One was training runs. We got partners in the physical city. So if you wanted to train with Nike, you could go to different places like either Nike Town or different road running clubs, and you could train with them. Or we developed this thing called Nike Plus Coach. So it'll make a customized training program for you. So you put in the end date of August 31st, and it'll back out training programs, for the whole thing. And then you can adjust it and tweak it all you want. And then each city has its own page. And while it may seem like an obvious thing, each city should have its own page, it was a pain in the ass because we had to make this thing completely global. We had to translate it into, I don't know how many different languages around the world. And from a copyright perspective, join the first global 10K in blank. When you put that into German, it's like 8 lines long. So everything had to be short and like 4 words or less. And what we did is we kicked it off to these different regions, and they would feed in their own content. So when you go to the Taipei site, it's all filled with their own stuff. We're not generating content for them. We made it a template, and we sort of let them, fill it all in. The music is like pretty much the key point of Nike Plus. I mean, that's why it really took off. Is because people are running with music. We just took that and made your iPod talk to your shoe, so you could all come together. So there was a lot of focus on music. We developed these sport mixes. There's sport mixes, and then there's training mixes, I think, right? Sure, why not? So you can have, like, this guy, Coach Jay, will actually talk to you during this 45-minute collection of tracks. So not only do you get the music, but you get him. You can turn him off if you want and just get the tracks, but he guides you through things like your first 10K, or speed, power. There's also power and agility, all sorts of different stuff. But then the digital component was only one part of it. What we presented to them was a huge, bigger idea. The core of the idea was a worldwide 10K. We said, all right, well, obviously we're great at websites and we'll give you your digital space, but there's so much more that we want to do with it. One thing was the Human Race book. Now our idea was that you can go online and we'll create a little bookmaker. So you upload all of your own pictures from training, all of your own pictures from the race itself, and then you can put it into a book, and then we'll partner up with iPhoto and Apple or other vendors out there, and you can get your own personal hard copy book. What Nike actually did is they said, that's a great idea, but I think a better idea would be if we hire someone to make a book and everybody can just submit pictures and we'll make one master book. So that's the way it moved. Another huge component is, Nike has a roster of athletes and a roster of, connections into the music industry, a lot of celebrities. So we went out and we shot, we leveraged the challenge feature in Nike Plus where people kind of trash talk each other. And we had athletes and celebrities all trash talking each other. Let me go on that YouTube page if I can find it. Get really small or really big. Wow. Here. So I'll just show one. Kanye one was pretty cool. He didn't want to do anything.
On 08/31/08, 1 million people around the world are going to hit the streets and run the Nike Plus Human Race, the biggest one-day running event in history. That means that never before in the history of, AC, BC, before people had AC, bring your running skills for a global 10K in 25 cities, or race in any city with Nike Plus. I never heard anyone brag about running skills. But it is a skill, it's like a language. And if you ever want to party with me, now's your chance and a place to be, because I'm going to be performing at the finish line at the dopest after party ever. If you want to get on the list, just go to NikePlus.com now and register to run. Yo, get up off the couch on 08/31/08 and make history with every little step by running for charity in the Nike Plus Human Race. It's a good cause. Party with me in LA on race day, and together, let's run the world, baby! Give it. Drop it. You're not recording this, right? That was genius.
So like answering the phone in the middle of the tape, we had to. So if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube /Nike Plus Human Race. We made it nice and short so you can